How's it going, everybody? This is me again, Chuy, one of the hosts of the podcast titled Exploring the Myths Behind the Legends. And I am once again joined by my girlfriend, Monica.
Hi, guys.
How's it been, Monica?
Good.
So a little birdie told me that you're starting a job soon?
On Monday, it's my first day, so...
Nice. Good for you, dude. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
So, for me, it's been about the same. Just the usual work.
Mm-hmm.
Day off here, day off there, this and that. I've been working on some music, so, we'll see what happens.
Okay. Yay.
And I'm very excited about tonight's episode, by the way. I'll ask you what the topic for that is. I mean, everyone should know because they clicked on the title, and the title is there. But
Yeah.
somebody asked me, why do you guys always introduce a movie if it's in the title? Well, it's part of it. It's part of the whole experience here at EMBL. So, speaking of experiences, let's go ahead and share our social media accounts with our listeners, shall we?
Yes.
Alright, so we got our Facebook under Exploring the Myths Behind the Legends. We have our Instagram under Myths Behind LGDS.
Our Twitter is Myths Behind LGDS, and you can also email us at mythsbehindlegends@gmail.com.
Right, our letterbox is also under Myths Behind LGDS, and on there we have a list of possible movies that we might consider for future episodes. If you want to maybe recommend one from that list, or one that's not on there, you can do that for us as well. And like I said, that's also under Myths Behind LGDS, and the Moment of Truth, the website URL, Monica.
Dun dun dun!
So that's going to be under Myths Behind Legends.mailchimpsites.com.
You were doing a little like a power walking type of beat.
Yeah, kind of like the strut that Michael Jackson has in the Billie Jean music video. Kind of like.
Oh yeah.
You guys can picture that. If you haven't seen that video, it's all over the YouTube probably. And okay, Monica. So what is our topic for tonight's episode?
Today, we're going to be talking about Carrie, but the 70s version of it, not the most recent one.
Chun, chun, chun. And actually, I was surprised to hear that this movie had a movie remake in the early 2000s.
Yes.
Not the newest one, because they did one about 6 years ago, maybe.
Really?
With,
yeah.
What's her name? Chloe Grace?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
That was the one that was maybe like 5-6 years ago, and then there was another one apparently made for TV in like 2002.
I didn't know that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's something that I found out in the course of the research for this episode, my friend. So we'll talk about all that stuff later.
Okay.
But just maybe like a 1-2 quick sentence summary. Don't do the whole movie, please.
It's hard. Well, basically, it's this girl who's like kind of bullied. She gets bullied in school. She's kind of like an outcast, and she all of a sudden gets invited to prom by this popular guy, and everything seems to start to go well. But then it takes a huge freaking turn, and they bully her to the point where she just straight up kills everybody, And yeah.
Alright, cool. I think that's a pretty legit description of the events of the movie. So we'll go a little bit more in depth into what the movie has to offer us, and the critique segment coming right after these messages. Alright, so we are at our critique segment, Monica, and the audience. And basically, this movie is the way you described it. It's about a girl that is apparently a social pariah. Nobody likes her. Like, nobody likes this girl for some reason.
Yeah.
Not even her own mother. Her own mom treats her like crap.
Her mother's just psycho.
Yeah, but speaking about the movie as a whole, I like it a lot. I like this movie. I've always been a fan of this movie. I'm a fan of the book too. It's based on I've only read the book twice, maybe. It's a really short book. It's only, I mean, it's about 190, maybe 200 pages.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there are differences between the book and the film. But speaking about the movie, just straight up, I like it a lot, and it always somehow makes me sad when I watch it.
Yeah, me too, dude. It's because she didn't deserve that. You know, like she was just this like shy girl. Like she had so much potential, and these people just, I don't understand why they were so mean to her. Like she didn't do anything. That she didn't do anything wrong. She just had a mom who like really like secluded her from the real world, and who also nobody liked because was she like a dealer or something? Like I feel like she was dealing pills or something because like in the beginning she goes to like one of the girls' mom's houses, I guess they're neighbors or something, and she goes in there like dressed like a freaking nun basically, like she's gonna be talking about like a testigos de Jehová type of lady, you know, talking about God. And she's there spouting her stuff, and then like the other lady answers the phone, talks about wanting to get rid of her. And when she comes out, she says, I want to give a donation. Let me give you $10. And I guess that's code for like, give me some pills or something, because like she hands her something and she gets upset, and then she just like, she's like, I'm going to pray for you.
I think she gave her a pamphlet, like for the religion, whatever religion she's trying to preach.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she's dealing Jesus.
I thought she gave her like a little baggie of something. I was like, she's like,
maybe I missed that. I mean, I thought it was just like a little religious pamphlet, like the ones that they give you when they come knocking on your door, or whatever.
Yeah,
I thought that's what that was. I mean, I might be wrong. Well, to me, it's one of the events, the whole feel of the movie. It just makes me feel really nostalgic. I don't know why. I mean, I was not around in the 70s.
Yeah,
I wasn't around to the mid 80s, and I didn't have a conscious mind, until I was like in the early 90s, and I was like 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
So. But I don't know, like the whole, like the way the movie shot, the music, the transitions, like everything that happens, the events of the movie.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me nostalgic, or I don't know why that is. And I guess it's maybe because it makes me wish that I was young again.
Okay.
Like,
Back in high school.
Not that I miss high school, mind you. My high school for me, and I was going to ask you a little bit, but I guess I'll start. High school for me, it wasn't a great experience, but it wasn't the worst thing either. Like, I wasn't ever bullied. I wasn't ever picked on or anything like that. I was one of the invisible kids. So
yeah.
That means that, I mean, I had my group of friends that I would hang out with every day, but my high school experience was a little different than most people because I went to a magnet school.
Okay.
And for those of you who might not know what that is, it's basically a school that you choose to go to, and you don't go to your regular high school that you would go to in your hometown. Basically what happened with me is a bus came to my high school, picked us up, like me and maybe about 6, 7 other students up, drove us all the way to Mercedes, which is maybe like a 30, 45-minute drive depending on traffic. And that was where I went to high school. The high school was called Science Academy, mind you, so I'm a huge nerd.
Oh, wow. I remember seeing the ads for that school, but I always wanted to go, but I obviously didn't go. I went to regular public school.
Yeah, I mean, I like the concept of the school, man. It was fun. It was awesome. I met a lot of people from all over. It was kind of like going to college, but in high school, because you meet people from all over the valley, which, McAllen, Harlingen, Brownsville, and if you're not familiar with this area, it's basically like a huge metro area.
Yeah.
So you meet people from all the towns, all the cities, and the library was even like you had to walk to the library like a block away from the high school. It was kind of like college, So yeah, dude, it was pretty cool. The classes were awesome. I had a very small group of friends because, like I said, I wasn't one of the cool kids, whatever. I mean, I play guitar, so by default, everyone hated me. I mean, I didn't get good at it until I was in college, but yeah, dude, so I don't relate to her in the sense that she gets picked on because I wasn't, like I said. Yeah. But I do kind of understand what it feels to like not be known or appreciated because, like, the principal, that scene where like Cassie, yes, Cassie.
That pissed me off so much.
He calls her the wrong name like 5 times in a row, and she's like, "It's Carrie."
Yeah, they corrected him several times, and he still he just doesn't want to call her Carrie. He wants to call her Cassie because it's easier for him, and he's a jerk. But yeah, that really pissed me off because I'm like, dude, if they already corrected you one time, that should have been enough. Like, why are you still saying it wrong?
I mean, I guess spoilers alert, I consider the entire town the villain in this movie.
Yeah.
Or the majority, at least, and we'll get to that eventually, like I said. But did any of this movie resonate with you as far as your high school experience?
I was also kind of like, I guess, like an invisible type of kid. I knew some popular kids, but like I wasn't like close friends with them, and I wasn't really like an outcast either. Like I just kind of minded my own business. I had my own little group of friends too, and that was it. Like I did have people within my group kind of pick on me at some point, but it wasn't like, I mean, I did have a Carrie moment where like somebody poured chocolate milk on my head over some stupid like argument or whatever. That was kind of traumatizing, but that was like it. That was like, I think it was like junior year or something. After that, it kind of like, it was during break or before Christmas break, and when I came back, I mean, like, people had already kind of forgotten about it. So it was like, whatever, I just acted like it didn't happen, and it kind of blew over, and that was that. But before that, prior to that, I didn't have any issues with anybody. Like, it was just that one moment. And after that, senior year was pretty chill. Like, it was whatever. It wasn't a bad experience, but honestly, I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't want to, like, go back to high school, because it's just a drag. Like, I know there's people who like were in sports or whatever, or like I guess thought that high school was one of their best moments in their lives, but I wasn't in clubs. I was in the criminal justice club. That was it. And that was like the highlight of my high school career, basically. That was all I did. I became the president, so I was like super proud.
Oh, perdón, güey.
Yeah, it was my biggest accomplishment in high school. But I wasn't really like in sports. I wasn't in clubs or anything like that besides the criminal justice club, and that was like late in my high school, career or whatever. When I look back, it wasn't one of those time periods where I was like, oh, I miss it, or like I'm nostalgic about it or whatever. Like, it was just, if I could have skipped it, I would have. So, and I didn't really get bullied either. So it was just kind of like, I feel like I got more bullied in like elementary than in high school. There was this girl in my high school that was really religious, like super religious, and she would run weird, like people would make fun of her. There would be guys who would trip her on purpose. I think we were like an orchestra together, so she reminded me a little bit of Carrie. Like, I was always worried that she was gonna snap or something, but she was chill, like she just did her own thing. She kept to herself. I think she only had like one friend, but that was just like the way she was, and she didn't care. Like, she didn't care that she was different or that she was like considered an outcast. But this girl, Carrie, it was like completely different, because they were like straight up pushing her, throwing tampons at her, like making her feel horrible about herself. What they were doing was basically assault. Even the teacher, the gym teacher, was like slapping these girls. They deserved it, but like, I mean, obviously you can't really do that. Like, I don't know what you do with that. But I definitely empathized. It did make me feel really sad too, because like, that chick didn't deserve it. She was so pretty too. Like, they made it seem like she was this ugly person or whatever, and she was just like a sweet girl, that just didn't really know any better, and she did not deserve that. It could have gone so different had people been kind to her, like the other girl tried to be towards the end, but it obviously backfired because of that other hateful girl. But yeah,
dude, I mean, for me, just to summarize my high school experience, I was again in a magnet high school. Our mascot was a freaking Da Vinci man that's like doing jumping jacks in that wheel.
Oh yeah.
They call it I believe the Vitruvius man. Yeah, that was our school mascot, dude. So, oh my god, like, we had no sports. We had PE, we had a weight room, we had a field that you could play soccer or football in with your friends during lunch. Because our classes were like college classes. They were an hour and a half long.
Damn.
And we had an A-B schedule, so you went to one class one day and then a different group of classes the following day. Oh, okay. Lunch was an hour, so at lunch you ate in like 15, 20 minutes, and then you went out and did your thing. I would always go hang out to this one teacher's classroom, and he was awesome. He let us hook up like a PlayStation there and just play games all day, like, or lunch, So that was pretty cool. But I wouldn't go back to high school either. I miss being that age because that's when I became a musician. So that's when I started to become the person that I am now.
That's your origin story. Yeah.
And I was in the Spanish club, but later on, when I finished school, I became a teacher. I have a background in education.
Mm-hmm.
I worked as a teacher. Well, yeah, a full-time teacher as an actual classroom teacher for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked as a permanent substitute for like another 5 or 6. So give or take 7, 8 years of experience in education.
Yeah.
And I would see kids, picking on other kids, and I mean, I would always try to put a stop to it, And when I was a teacher, it was more difficult because kids see you as the enemy.
Yeah.
Straight up. And you got to play your part. You can't be friends with them because that's not what you're there for. You were there to teach them.
Yeah.
When I was a sub, it was a lot easier because I was a lot more relaxed. I didn't have to worry about any grading, I mean, on some cases I did because I actually got to take over for classes for like months on end. And so I worked at the same school pretty much for like that whole 5-6 years that I was a permanent sub. So I got to know a lot of the kids, man. A lot of the students. I still keep in touch with some of them on Facebook. They added me and we talk and just say hi to each other every now and then. And that's pretty cool, dude. And it was gratifying for me as a teacher or a sub in this case that they will tell me I was a cool sub, mind you. I would always let them use their phones, but I had the condition that they would need to do their work. And of course, they wouldn't do their work until I forced them to. And what I would do is I would walk around and ask them, hey, show me your work. And it'd be blank, and it's like 15 minutes into the class, and it's like, hey, dude, you need to work, or I'll have to pick up your phone. It's like, number sir, like the typical Valley response, Yeah. And it's like, okay, what do you mean number sir? Like, pues es que I don't get it, Okay, well, show me what do you get. And not put number 1, I don't get number 1. So if it's a math problem, I'll be like, okay, but let me look it up. And if I didn't know it, and I would help them out, and I would do a couple of problems for them. And okay, now you do 3 and 4, and then I'll come back in 10 minutes. Right? And I better see those problems. At least you trying something in there,
Yeah.
But something that makes sense. Don't just write whatever, So I would do that for every group of kids, whatever, and I would come back and they would try something and it was wrong or it was right, and I would say, hey, good job, you tried it, but you messed up in this step right here, so that's why you got the wrong answer, So I would help them. But my point with all this is that makes a difference. And I was trying to say that the guy is reading the poem, right? The Tommy wrote in class, and he's like, does anybody have any what is it, critiques, whatever?
Feedback,
Yeah. But he's saying it all smug, dude, like all like so far up his butt, like his head, like I'm the authority here, and you guys, whatever your opinion is beneath me, whatever. That's the impression that I got from that guy. And then Carrie said it's beautiful, and then he made fun of her, dude.
Yeah.
He made fun of Carrie for giving feedback, even if it's just saying that it's beautiful, that she liked it. She's like, beautiful. Like, dude, people like that just, that makes more of an impact on a kid's life than anything, dude. Like,
yeah.
And I bring that up because when I was doing that stuff that I said earlier with helping the kids in the groups and everything, they would ask their teachers, hey, can you get Mr. Vargas, because he helps us. Like, and this guy you got last time, he was just sitting on his phone and not doing anything all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I became one of the most reliable people there because I would actually help the kids, and the teachers would come back and ask, hey, what do you guys do? And show them. We didn't get it so much, but he explained this to us, and some of them got it, some of them didn't. Some of them actually started to a little protest thing where they wanted me to replace their teacher because the teacher wasn't teaching them, quote unquote, whatever.
Wow.
And I was like, nah, dude, you guys are just saying that because you want to use your phones in class. Shut up. Yeah. But the point is that a lot of them came up to me later on, and like, you know what, sir, you're one of the people that actually tried to work with us. Mm-hmm. After everyone had given up on us, and you actually try, give us a chance, so we appreciate that from you. So that was gratifying, dude. And I connect that to the teacher that's making fun of her, the principal that doesn't even care to learn her name.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, all these things contribute to people developing all these traumas in life, and it's just not cool, dude. People like that shouldn't be allowed to work in schools, dude. I'm sorry, it just...
No, because you're supposed to be a role model. You're supposed to help these kids out. They're going through all this in their lives, some things that you don't even know about, and you can't treat everybody the same way. You have to take the time to get to know them at least a little bit, just to kind of try and understand them, and they do appreciate it. Some of my best teachers were people like you, people that actually took the time to explain things to me and make sure that I got it and didn't speed through the lesson, because I had teachers like that and I didn't learn anything from them and I hated it. I didn't want to go to those classes. And the fact that the teachers didn't give her respect just backed up the disrespect from the students. The fact they were able to get away with it because nobody gave it. The only one who actually stood up was like the gym teacher. And even in the beginning, she kind of did it a little. She was a little hostile.
Oh yeah.
And then she just kind of like sweetened up out of nowhere, like kind of I guess try to help her out, and she was trying to protect her. What pissed me off is that she could have prevented the whole blood thing, you know, had she listened to the other girl, I don't remember what her name was, who was trying to tell her, hey, there's this just under the stairs, she's gonna pull the string, do something, and instead she just kind of was like, she had it in her head that this girl was also going to contribute to something, and like she was gonna be causing like a problem for Carrie, and kicked her out of the gym instead of like actually listening to her. Like that's another thing, like these people in this movie did not respect the opinions of the students. They just were like, no, you're dumb, like get out of my face.
Going back to the movie a little bit, I think the special effects were good for their time in mid-70s. I mean, there's really not too much in the way of special effects, but whatever there is, I mean, that they worked with what they had. I mean, they didn't have all these fancy computer graphics or anything like that, but I thought that the movie was shot really well. I like the camera angles. I like the music, the background, or the soundtrack in the background. I thought it was pretty cool. All these really sad and melancholic songs, love songs, I guess, for the most part. Mm-hmm. It contributes to, again, making me feel sad when I watch this movie. I feel really, like, not depressed, but I feel, like, really, like, melancholic for some reason, man. I feel like I go into depression mode.
I guess, like you said, like, the effects that they had, they were very subtle, too. Like, it wasn't like other movies where they tried to add in all these weird graphics. Some of the movies that we saw previously, like, that didn't really make any sense. This chick just has like, you know, telekinetic powers or whatever. She can do things with her mind. So it's really just moving things and, like, you know, I think it was very beautifully made. I really like this movie. Like, I wasn't overdone. It wasn't like, it didn't come up short either. Like, it was just perfect.
I think so too, dude. And just to end the segment real quick, what do you think of the ending?
I didn't remember this ending this way. Like, I thought that... Well, I don't even know what I thought. I don't know what I expected. Like, I didn't know that she basically did to herself what she did to the school, which is, like, burn her house down and everything. I remembered that she killed her mom, but I didn't remember her, like, burning down the house. I thought it was very realistic that this girl, the one that tried to help her out, I can't remember what her name was, that she just was the only one who survived, really. Yeah. And was left with all this trauma, dude. Like, everybody that she knew, everybody that she cared about died in school. Like, and the one girl that caused it also freaking died. So there's nobody to, like, really be responsible for this or held accountable. And, like, the fact that she saw that this chick had powers, too, because, I mean, you don't expect that, you know, like, in real life. So it was a decent ending. I kind of would have... No, I think it was a good ending. I don't think it needed more or anything else. I think it was great.
I agree with you. I think it's just the culmination of everything that has been going on throughout this whole girl's life, because the highlight of her short life was her prom. Yeah. You saw her face light up when she saw all the decorations and all the people dancing, and to me, in her mind, she must have felt like she was in a dream. Because even the teacher's like, what does it feel like? And she's like, oh, I feel like I'm in Mars. This is, like, just so different from everything that I've ever experienced. So it's a bittersweet ending for me, but it's really the only way that it could have ended, dude. Like, there's just no other way. Mm-hmm. Because it was just so much, and a person can only take so much, dude. And that was the end of the line for her. And not that I justify murder, because I don't. There's a legal disclaimer here. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I think her anger was justified because she was unjustly hated. Like, everyone, even the little kid in the bike picked on her, like, creepy Carrie, creepy Carrie. It's like, dude, what the hell? Smack him in the face. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on.
What she do to you, you jerk? Yeah.
So, Monica, the units for tonight are telekinetic prom queens. How many does this film get?
I'm gonna go with the 10.
A 10? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go with a 10 for this. Awesome. So, chan. A perfect score for Carrie, the movie of the 70s. I believe 1976 or 8.
I think so. Yeah.
So 10 out of 10 telekinetic prom queens. Full recommend. We approve of this movie. So, we'll be right back with our academic segment after these messages. Alright, Monica and the audience, this is the academic segment in which Monica and myself kind of discuss something from quote-unquote real life that has some sort of connection to the movie or whatever the topic is of our discussion for any given episode. And since this movie deals with telekinetic powers, I was doing some research on this kind of stuff, and I came across this name of this guy that I had heard of before, but I had just forgotten about him. But have you ever heard of a guy named Uri Geller?
No.
Uri Geller, my friend, is a person that was more famous in the 70s and 80s because he would claim that he could bend spoons with his mind.
Oh, okay. I think I remember. I remember the spoon bending. I don't remember the guy's name, but okay.
I mean, other people have done this before, but he became like notorious because he claimed that his powers were given to him by aliens.
What?
So,
okay.
I mean, some of the things he could do is he claimed to be able to do telekinesis, like Carrie, telepathy, so reading people's minds or communicating with somebody through his own like mind without having to speak to them. He could also, of course, do the spoon bending, like I mentioned. He could also describe hidden drawings that people made without him looking, allegedly.
Okay.
And get this is the best superpower ever. He could make watches run faster or stop.
Nice.
I mean, not stop time. He could just take a watch and stop it and just kind of like drain his battery or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, he claimed that his powers were given to him by aliens. So what do you think about this guy so far?
I mean, if you can prove it, I'll be a believer.
Well, he had a nemesis, a lethal adversary, a gentleman by the name of James Randi, who was out to prove that Uri Geller was a fraud by all means necessary. Right?
Damn.
So this guy wrote a book about how Uri Geller was a fraud, how he could prove all his tricks were fake. And I'll bring him back up in a little bit, but let's go and look. A couple other things that Uri Geller allegedly did was he teleported a dog through the walls of his house.
What?
Apparently.
Did the dog survive?
Yeah,
was it?
Yeah, this person, and I'm gonna butcher this name, but their name is Andrija Puharic. He met Uri Geller, and this person, Andrija, is allegedly a parapsychologist, so he studies paranormal phenomena.
Okay.
And he claims that he saw how Uri Geller was able to teleport a dog across a wall.
Wow. Okay.
But everyone's like, dude, like, there's no pictures, there's no video, so whatever, you know?
Picture didn't happen.
Yeah, Uri Geller claimed again to be a psychic, and he participated in the investigation of a kidnapping of a model.
Okay.
In the early 90s. His prediction was, don't worry guys, this girl's gonna come, and she's gonna be found, she's gonna be perfectly good health, and just give her a couple weeks and you guys will find her. Guess what happened?
She was dead.
Well, might as well, because she was never found and the police believe she was murdered. I mean, all the evidence pointed to the fact that she was no longer alive. So, but this guy is like, no, don't worry about it, guys. You know, she'll come back home in a couple of weeks. Don't worry about it. You know.
Yeah, just giving hope.
I mean, well, you and I believe in supernatural stuff. I mean, we've established that before. But what I don't agree with is people that claim to have some sort of ability and then use it for something that, in this case, police work, and then. I don't want to say he was guilty of this lady dying because the kidnappers were, or whoever took her. But, dude, if you don't know anything, shut up. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
because you're giving hope to the family. You're giving, if the cops even believe this too, like you're putting them at ease. Maybe like not taking away like the urgency maybe to like, do the work to find this chick. I understand maybe he was trying to put people at ease, but like if you're not certain, you can't be certain. Otherwise you would know exactly where she was. Like don't fucking give false hope to people like that. Because it could cause their death.
Mm-hmm. There's a movie about something like this. No, it's not about him. There's a movie with, it's a lady. I think it was Kate Blanchett, the actress. I may be wrong about this, but she plays a psychic that helps cops, and we should look into doing that movie because it's interesting.
I'm down.
Going back to Mr. Geller here, he claimed later on that like I mentioned earlier, he said that his powers were given to him by aliens.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometime in the 2000s, he changed his tune, and he said, "Well, I'm no longer gonna say that I have supernatural powers. I'm just an entertainer."
What?
So he admitted to like not having any sort of supernatural abilities, but I mean, this happened around 2007, I believe.
Wow.
And he says that when he gives speeches, he tries to motivate kids by saying, "Kids, forget the paranormal, forget the spoon bending, focus on school, become a positive thinker. Believe in yourself, create a target for yourself, go to college, don't smoke, don't do drugs, and think of success."
Wow.
So, I mean, that's a positive message, I guess, but, I mean...
But it's just backtracking everything that he said in the beginning. Wow.
I mean, and get this, and you know how... I mean, I'm not a big political person, and I'm really ignorant when it comes to stuff. So, I mean, I read on stuff like that, but I'm not really knowledgeable enough to give an opinion. But in 2019, Uri Geller said that he wrote to the then Prime Minister of England, Theresa May, that he would stop England from doing Brexit.
Oh, wow. Well, how the turntables.
I mean, we all know how that worked out. I mean...
Yeah.
So again, dude, I mean, how can you believe in someone like this? I mean, they say one thing and the exact opposite of what they claim is going to happen happens.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm. Maybe he was getting lawsuits for saying shit that didn't come true, and people started getting smart and like, okay, well, we're gonna sue you because you told us this, and that's not how it played out. So maybe that's why he probably cannot legally say that stuff.
Well, yeah. And one of his darkest times, apparently, was when he was invited to a TV show, The Tonight Show with then host Johnny Carson. This is probably back in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
And this gentleman that I mentioned earlier, his deadly nemesis, James Randi, he had coordinated this whole thing where, like, no, we're going to prove this guy's a fraud on national TV and live TV, and he's going to be proven wrong, and, everyone's going to, like, see how much of a fake he is, right?
Uh-huh.
So Geller was under the impression that he wasn't going to do anything with his abilities. He was just going to answer questions and just move on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when he got to the stage and Johnny Carson was asking him questions, apparently, he got to ask him, hey, do a demonstration of your abilities, bend some spoons or do whatever, like.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it.
Damn.
He couldn't do it, so he's like, my career's done. I'm done here, whatever. But guess what happened?
What?
He became more popular.
Why?
Because apparently people believe that, well, if he was doing like illusions or magic tricks, they would work every single time, no matter what the circumstances are. So if he fails, it's because he really has a gift, and it only works. And he was put in a hostile environment. He was like,
oh my god,
put under pressure, and he was being like set up, and his anxiety caused him to not perform. Like, dude, it's not like ED, like.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a little different here.
Wow.
But I mean, and full disclaimer, I've never met Mr. Geller. I don't know anything about him. Like, I haven't seen or read any, because he's just written books, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I've never read anything by him. I've never seen any of his videos or anything like that. I'm just reading or describing what the evidence seems to point to, right?
Yeah.
Which in all these cases, all these instances of evidence seem to point to the fact that he doesn't have any kind of ability.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yes. I mean, it doesn't seem like he can prove it, so... Yeah, no.
To close this off on his segment here, guess what one of his latest, this happened about 20 years ago, but he was involved in a lawsuit. Try to guess concerning what?
Is it something with magicians or something?
Well, there were a few of those, but the one that I'm talking about specific, because some people accuse him of being a fraud, and he sued for libel and but back and forth. So he had a few of those, but the one that I'm going to talk about is going to be like the most unexpected thing ever.
Okay.
He sued Nintendo, the game company,
Uh-huh.
because he claimed that one of their Pokemons was stealing his image.
What?
I mean, just let that sink in for a minute there. So
He sued Pokemon. Oh, the little one that did the hypnotism stuff, or what?
I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about, because the one that's listed here is Pokemon, and I'm a Pokemon fan, so I don't know what. I mean, I know Pikachu because it's like the most famous one, but
Yeah. What's it called?
but this one is called Kadabra.
Oh, yeah, that's what. Yeah, okay, I know who. Yeah.
And
Wow.
apparently, Kadabra has psychic abilities, and he could bend spoons with his mind. Also.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So
Mhm.
this was enough for Mr. Geller here to think that they're ripping off my act here.
Oh my God. Wow. Pretentious much? Jesus.
Playing devil's advocate here, according to what I'm reading here, by the way, I wish I had a better resource because I found this on Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
But everything that I read was just either really pro for him or really against him.
Yeah.
Nothing was really middle. So it's maybe like a love or hate guy, I mean, so I found Wikipedia was the most neutral source when it came to this, which is where I'm reading this from. But according to this, the spelling in Japanese for that Pokemon is really close to the spelling of his name in Japanese also.
Interesting.
I mean, that's, so interesting. Yeah, like you say, interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
he was quoted as saying, Nintendo turned me into an evil, occult Pokemon character. Nintendo stole my identity, my name, and my signature image.
Signature image. Okay, bro, get over
So
yourself.
apparently he's some sort of magical animal that bends spoons and...
Right. Have you looked up what the Pokemon looks like?
And I haven't actually. I should do that as we're speaking. But
You should, because that...
I'll do it on my phone. But as I'm doing that, I'm gonna say that allegedly the Nintendo and him reached some sort of economic agreements, off out of court. So I don't know what the deal with. I don't know if he's the one that ended up paying the legal fees to Nintendo, or if Nintendo ended up just go away. Just here's some money. And
yeah.
Just to get rid of that nuisance. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't say that who paid who, right? But that was the outcome of that lawsuit.
Oh, I think I see the picture of. Oh, and they weren't using him. Apparently, because of this lawsuit. They don't even look alike. What is he talking about?
This looks like a fox, dude.
Yeah.
It looks like a fox with a long mustache and
This guy probably just needed money, dude, and he's over here like, I'm broke. Let me start some shit and get some cash. Wow.
So, what are your final impressions on Mr. Geller here?
I think he needs to get his shit together. I don't like him. I don't think that he was very honest, honestly, from what we've learned so far. It seems like he was one of those people that's really just a performer, and he's reaching, with that Pokemon. Come on, man. It's a Pokemon. It's a freaking cartoon. What?
You know what? I'm gonna sue Pokemon for Pikachu because he's short and has anger. That's the vivid image of me right there.
Oh my God. Yeah, that logic, everybody should be suing everyone, basically. Wow. I mean, I understand the whole spoon thing. Maybe they did get inspiration from him, but you don't own the spoons. You don't own that whole persona thing. Just chill the out. Oh my God.
Alright, so clearly you're not a fan of this guy.
No, I'm not.
I mean, based on what I read, I'm not either.
Yeah.
I mean, if I ever met him, I'd probably talk to him and see what's up with.
Nah, it's not worth it.
I mean, I'm not gonna go out of my way to meet him, but if I ran into him at the mall or whatever,
Uh-huh.
And yeah, and to close things off with him here, he became a reality show star in some shows in Europe, apparently. So
Okay.
he's making a career out of his image, I guess. Yeah, that was our academic segment on Mr. Uri Geller here, who
Mhm.
was, or is still, I guess, like acclaimed, or claims to be rather, a telepath, telekinetic. And I forgot to mention, he can find minerals by dancing. You know what that is, right? When he has like little branches, whatever, and he's like, oh, you can find gold here, whatever.
Oh my god.
Apparently,
Okay.
he can do that too.
Mhm.
And he's a
Wow.
millionaire, mind you. He's got millions of dollars, so.
Of course he is.
Alright, so yeah, we'll be right back with the Know Thine Enemy segment after these messages. Alright, Monica, and the audience out there, we are at the Know Thine Enemy segment, in which we discuss the antagonist of the film, or story, or whatever it is that we're discussing. And as I mentioned in the first critique segment, I believe the entire village or town where this girl is from is the villain of this movie.
Yeah. I agree.
It's kind of hard to classify an entire town, but I'm gonna name or put him under the intelligent once human category, because people like this don't deserve to be called human beings, I don't think.
No.
And essentially, the town is out to get Carrie Whiteley. They all hate her. Like,
Dude, I don't get it.
everyone has this like inborn hate for this girl. Like, they write graffiti with her name. Like, she eats shit in the hallways, you know, in the gym. Everywhere, dude. They tease her. Even in the first scene in the movie, with they're playing volleyball, they're like, you know, Carrie sucks. You know, just throw her the ball and she'll miss it. And sure enough, that happens. And then all her teammates hate her. You know. And quick side note here, I forgot to mention that opening scene. I thought I was gonna get in trouble because there's like naked girls. Dude, everyone hates this girl. Like I mentioned earlier, the little kid in the bike, the teachers, the classmates, even her mom treats her like horribly. So this girl has like no friends, no one to turn to. The only one she tries to turn to is her mom, and her mom just beats her up and locks her in a closet to pray for hours.
Yeah.
And you see, like, dude, it was like a really great performance by Cece Spacek, you know, the actress that played Carrie.
Oh yeah.
That first time you see her mom dragging her by her hair into that closet, dude, and she's just crying and just screaming her lungs out, like, I don't want to do that. Like, no, mom, what are you doing? Like, dude, I was like, wow.
Yeah,
Like,
I got chills, dude. I was like, oh my god, like, that's horrible. Like, imagine having a mom like that, dude.
I don't know, man. I was lucky that my mom's a great human being. She's awesome.
Yeah. No, that lady was like psychotic. That's just crazy.
Yeah, dude. And apparently their goal is just to make her life miserable.
Yeah.
Like, by any means necessary. And this, again, everybody, the teachers, the classmates, everybody, dude. Like, we mentioned earlier how the teacher made fun of her for giving feedback on the guy's poem.
Yeah.
So how is a person like that ever gonna feel like their opinion matters?
Or valuable at all, like, or have any self-esteem. Yeah.
Or how is she ever gonna want to speak up in class or anywhere for that matter if she feels like every time she speaks, someone's gonna put her down?
Yeah.
That's horrible, dude. And I'm thinking, I mean, these people probably feel better about themselves when they do this because, you know, like, and I'm proving how better I am than this girl here, that, you know, this ignorant girl here. But I mean, she seems to be well-spoken. She's educated. I mean, I think she's a smart girl.
Yeah, it's just like, I guess her mom didn't prepare her for life at all. Like, what's the word? Just kind of like, not, I can't find the words.
Like sheltered, or?
Yeah, kind of sheltered. Yeah, like she just kind of, it was just because the mom had issues, you know, like the mom. At first, I thought maybe she was like assaulted or something, and that's how she ended up with Carrie. But it turns out that she was married, and like she viewed intimacy as a sin. That's insane, you know, like it went overboard when people are that I guess, dedicated to the beliefs, I guess, to where it doesn't really make any sense. Biology wise or like, societal wise, like it affected her daughter, like, because her daughter was just trying to live a normal life, like, and her mom basically made her seem like everything that she did was wrong. The fact that she became a woman, she got her period, that was a sin. It's like, dude, it's biology. It's something normal. It happens to everyone. Like, and she didn't even know about it. Her mom didn't even prepare her for that. Like, I guess she just thought that she wasn't going to get it, or hoped that she wouldn't get it, so she would never become a woman. Crazy.
I mean, the mom, she does mention that she was, quote unquote, kind of assaulted / raped by Carrie's father when he was drunk one night, but then she said that she ended up liking it after the fact. So that's a whole different discussion, because I could go into some psychology concepts. I mean, I'm not a doctor in psychology, but I majored in psychology in college. I have some limited knowledge when it comes to that kind of stuff. But basically, her own traumas, her own like biases ended up affecting her daughter in this horrible ways.
Yeah.
And it's not mentioned in the movie, but I'm not sure if it's mentioned in the book either, but you come to learn eventually that somehow, I think in part 2, because there is a part 2 to Carrie, by the way,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
from the 90s, in which the girl that is the protagonist in that story, it's kind of the same deal all over again. Some
Mm-hmm.
girl that's like an outsider, like nobody likes her, she has no friends, and some popular football guy ends up asking her to the prom or whatever, or not to the prom, but like this high school party or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's essentially the same movie. But I think that's where you find out that the father, whose name is Ralph White, has some sort of supernatural abilities.
Mm.
And he passes that down to his daughters.
Oh, okay.
Somehow. Like, I forgot what specifically he has, or what his powers are or whatever, but he has, according to the second movie, and even to Stephen King, I think Stephen King himself also said that the dad was somehow like a supernatural person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they ended up with these gifts. Because the girl in the second movie is also telekinetic.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, dude, it's the mom, her experiences with the dad, everything that she saw herself as a dirty person, because she liked something that she thought she wasn't gonna like.
That she wasn't supposed to. That she thought she wasn't supposed to
Or
like.
at least the context in which it happened.
Yeah.
Because she makes it seem like this guy would like assaulted her, or for all purposes here.
Yeah.
And she said that she ended up liking it. So I guess in her mind she was deviant, because she enjoyed that when she was not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to wonder, I mean, how much of that came from her own like upbringing and the mom.
Yeah, that too. Mm-hmm.
And that is how these things, can go down through generations. I mean, people go through stuff, they don't deal with it properly, and then that just keeps going down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, as far as the powers or abilities, I mean, these people don't have any powers or abilities, but they do inflict peer pressure, they inflict neglect, they inflict hatred, and they act out of ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know how much their actions affect Carrie. Or anybody in general. I mean, everybody picks on this girl. Like, even the people that you would think would be picked on. Like, other people that look more nerdy than her or whatever, they're picking on her.
I know. It was messed up, dude. It was crazy, the fact that there was not one single ally for her, except, that girl that, I guess got fed up with the bullying from the main chick, the blonde girl.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to help her out. It shouldn't take just one person. Like, why were they all so hateful with her? Like, what the hell did she do? She didn't do anything. She was just chilling, minding her own business.
Yeah, it's really difficult, but it's also more difficult because you see this in real life. I saw it when I was teaching.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would see kids trying to pick on other kids, and they hate it. Stop.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
And yeah, dude, it's always difficult for whoever's going through that to deal with it, because people think, oh, this is gonna, affect them or anything, but those people end up growing up to become like messed up people, adults. Like they can't function because they feel so traumatized in some cases,
How can you not think that you bullying somebody isn't going to affect them? You're terrorizing them. Obviously, it's going to have consequences. Like, I don't understand how people can be so stupid and think that it's okay for them to do that and for nothing to happen. And it usually stems from like them being bullied by somebody else, or them like having a bad situation at home, or that's the only way that they can feel that they're in power because maybe their parents treat them bad or their parents don't give them the time of day. So that's how they act out. But it's messed up, dude. It's like, why would you want to do something like that to somebody else after knowing how it feels like for you? Like, I don't understand people.
Yeah, dude. Well, that to me is something that I've always thought was a weakness in just humanity in general.
Mm-hmm.
People can't or won't or don't want to accept their mistakes and assume their responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to think that people are more afraid of admitting that they made a mistake than they are of dying.
Yeah.
Me personally, I believe that.
I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate finding out that I'm wrong about something. I hate it, like, because I like to think that I inform myself on something enough to like form an opinion.
Yeah.
And then when I find that I was wrong about it, I feel let down on myself. Like,
mm-hmm. Like, how could I not know that? Yeah.
Or how could I not realize? So, yeah, I mean, it's not something that we like to do, and I think it's the people say like, I'm afraid of dying. No, you're afraid of saying that you were wrong about something.
Yeah.
Or that something that you believed all through your life, you find out that it's wrong or it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
That just creates this whole like cognitive dissonance. You can't deal with one reality or a new reality because you've believed this whole thing your whole life, and you find out that it's not right or it's not what you thought was true.
Mm-hmm.
And that causes people to kind of go into like haywire mode, and that's why they don't want to accept that they're wrong, dude.
Yeah.
Because it's a difficult process to admit that. I mean, not just in the concept of bullying, it could be anything. Like,
mm-hmm.
like you can think that maybe, I don't know, you belong to a family and then you find out you're adopted. I mean, that's kind of a hard
yeah
to swallow. And it's not saying that you didn't do anything wrong.
mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of mentioning that in the sense that, well, you find out or you grow up believing one set of reality or quote unquote facts.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow you find out that your reality is not what you thought it was.
Yeah.
So that, kind of, it's one instance of kind of a similar thing. But in this case, in the movie, people are doing it on purpose. They're
yeah
bothering this girl, and they don't care about the consequences. They don't want to admit to themselves that that's going to make her miserable.
Mm-hmm.
In the long run, because it's not going to be just in high school, man. People, yeah, I mean, high school ends and that's it, and you never see those people ever again. But you carry some of that with you forever.
Yeah. If it molds you, it turns you into the person that you become. Like, there's people who were bullied their whole lives and end up like being these like they don't want to leave their house, or they're afraid of even like opening up to people because of how they were treated in the past. Like, that changes everything about a person. I mean, that's why they tell you too, like, not to be careful what you say to kids also, like even little kids, because they're absorbing every single thing, and it shapes them to the people that they grow up to be. And that happens all like your entire life. Ugh, yeah. People are just... I hate people.
So I was going to ask you what your opinion of society was, but that summarizes that statement, my friend.
There are some very ridiculous ideas out there, expectations, and just like... It pisses me off how we've existed for so long and people still are so close-minded and stubborn to change. And that includes all types of shit, like racism, all that stuff. I can't believe that still exists today, and the fact that people have these beliefs deeply rooted and they're not open to different perspectives and different opinions because they're afraid, of change. They're afraid to accept that what their parents did or what people that they cared about did was not okay. Like, they're in denial, whatever. I hate that about society. I hate that we're not all equal. We're not all the same. And that people get bullied for the dumbest shit, like, it's not fair. It's so stupid. And that it doesn't change. Like, it has not changed. People still think the same way. That's why we are where we are, like, and it sucks. It sucks. I just hate people. I'm just like, fed up.
I'm so glad that I'm on your good side, my friend.
Yeah.
I consider it a privilege to be on your good side here.
Thank you.
I agree with you in the sense that, yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of room for growth for everybody, for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
All of us can grow and we can change our ways, and it's not easy. Of course, it's not easy to change something that you've done your whole life, but you can do it if you want to, and if you make yourself go through that process,
Mm-hmm.
you can become a different person. And for example, this case in which maybe you were somebody that bullied somebody in high school, or whatever, and then you realize, well, you know what, I made a mistake, man. Like I that was horrible. I should not have done that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to admit that for anybody.
And that's kind of what that girl was doing. Is her name Sue? Like,
Yeah.
I keep thinking Sue. Okay, Sue. I mean, because she bullied too, but she felt bad about it. You could tell, like, when in the bathroom, like, the gym teacher was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And she was just like, like, I probably shouldn't have been doing that. And then she tried to turn it around, and she let her boyfriend, because that's the guy she was dating, she made him take this girl out. And at first, he didn't want to. And then, like, once he sees how Carrie really is, he's like, wow, this is, like, a really nice girl. Like, I can't believe that we didn't give her a shot, like, and he's having a good time. She's having a good time. And it's so pretty. It's so beautiful. Just seeing her, like, be accepted, too, because everybody else, like, seeing her with this guy was, like, kind of, like, being nice to her as well. Like, whether it was genuine or not, people were actually approaching her. And she finally got to feel, like, what it was like to be treated with decency. And then, the Sue goes to the dance, sneaks in or whatever, and she's in the back, in the backstage, smiling, feeling so happy for this girl because she finally, like, is getting what she deserves. She's getting attention. She's blossoming, dude. She looked amazing.
Yeah.
And then what happens? This freaking stupid girl who cannot let anything go decides to, like, go above and beyond to ruin her life. Like, I hated that girl. And she was such an ugly character, dude. Like, she was treating her own dude like crap, like telling him that he was a dumb shit, and he was like, don't. Then he started hitting her, and she was just, like, egging him on.
Oh, that was John Travolta, by the way, the boyfriend.
This is how abusive relationships start and, get gradually worse, because both of them were, like, disrespecting each other. It was so messed up. It was so cringy watching that. I was just like, it made me, like, uncomfortable. I was like, ugh.
That is, like, toxic relationship of the year right there.
Yeah, for real, dude. That was just bad.
Reminds me of certain scenes that I've seen in Downtown McAllen After Hours. I mean, if you're in the know, you know.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, then this scene is more than evidence. Just picture the scene, people drunk after hours in nightclubs, and this, I've seen this happen in public. It's embarrassing. I feel embarrassed for them.
It is. It is embarrassing. It's like, how low is your self-worth that you have to, like, treat other people like that? That's just bad.
To me, this movie is a reflection or I don't know what to call it, but I guess, a reflection of how bad we can be as people.
Yeah.
As a group of people.
Mm-hmm. As a collective, yeah.
Yeah, like how bad, like the worst possible traits of humanity are shown in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's like a cautionary tale, like, you know what, we can be better than this. We don't have to be like this.
Yeah.
And we should aspire to be better than what we are, but...
Exactly.
Like you said earlier, people are stubborn and sometimes are not, and I include myself. I'm really resistant to change when I have my way set on something. But I mean, if I know for a fact that I'm wrong, I mean, I'll swallow that pill.
Yeah, me too.
I'll hate doing that, and I'm not happy with it, but I'll do it.
I think that you should be proud of wanting to learn more and wanting to be more aware of everything that's going on around you. People make mistakes. It's normal. But the difference is between, like, different types of people is the people who make the mistakes and accept it and, like, choose to move on from it and learn from it, and the ones that ignore it and just kind of, like, backtrack, like, and make things worse. Like, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. It's natural. Why not try to be a better person and learn more and see what the fuck else is going on out there? Like, you can't surround yourself with the same people with the same, minds. It's nice to have people that think like you, but you also have to, like, get different opinions, different perspectives, because that's what helps you grow as a person and makes you like more well-rounded. Like, I mean, I don't understand why people are so resistant. And it sucks to be wrong, but like, I don't mind somebody like schooling me and telling me, hey, this is how this shit actually works. And then be like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know. Now I know. And next time I'll do my homework or whatever. You know, like, as a person, you should always want to be growing. You should always want to be changing. Things shouldn't stay the same all the time because times change. So why shouldn't we, right?
I think a lot of times we just like to take the path of least resistance.
Yeah, because it's less work, but you have to do the work, you know?
And yeah,
Like,
and I think you will end up finding that it's gratifying.
yeah, it is.
In most cases, I mean, and I would say in most cases, but... And just to close this off real quick, I would say that Carrie just wanted to be normal, but people were never really going to accept her, dude.
No.
No matter what she did, no matter who she hung out with, I mean, and what happened in that prom, that's evidence enough that no matter what she did, it's just not ever going to happen.
It's because there was too many hateful people there, dude. Like, just really messed up people. So, it's not her fault.
How many skulls in the scare meter does society get for you?
That was a scary society, so I'm gonna go with 8.
I'm gonna go with a 10, dude, because this is like to me
She did to 10 too. Yeah.
So 10.
Yeah.
For me also, because to me, like I said earlier, this is the epitome of pretty much most, if not all, the worst traits of people that you could ever imagine, and it's directed towards one single target. I mean, it was a matter of time before she blew up in some way, dude. In some way. So again, I don't justify or advocate for murder, but it's understandable why she got to that point.
Yeah, I mean, they asked for it, so yeah. I mean, and all like they didn't have to laugh.
Yeah.
They did not have to laugh. Like, they could have just been like, "What the fuck?" And then they could have collectively gathered that person, those people from under the stairs or whatever, kicked them out, helped Carrie. That was so messed up.
The path of least resistance, my friend. That was our Know Thine Enemy segment. And it's not that we're trying to be preachy here, but I mean, I guess the conclusion that we can all draw is that we can all grow in some way or another.
Yes.
Hopefully we all do that sometime. So, alright, we'll be right back with our least favorite segment of all time, the closing remarks for the episode, after these messages. Alright, Monica and the audience and myself, le set face for tonight because we are at the end of our episode.
Wah, wah, wah.
So I want to thank everyone that listened in, took some time to listen to our ideas, our thoughts on the movie Carrie, on society, on Mr. Geller, who is a reported allegedly telekinetic person. If it's the first time you joined us, thank you very much. We hope you come back for more. If you are a repeat listener, thank you for being part of the EMBL squad. You are awesome. And shoutouts, Monica. Do you have any shoutouts this week?
Yeah, to everyone who listens to us.
Speaking of the path of least resistance, right there.
Yeah, I guess so.
Alright, so I have a few. Again, Twitter's being awesome to us in the past few weeks, and I can't thank everyone enough for that. We had our biggest week and increased follower count.
Nice.
On Twitter, and we also had our biggest week ever in listens on the podcast, so
wow,
that's awesome, man. And it's all they're doing, and I want to thank everybody for that. That's been helping us on Twitter, especially the following people. We have Miss Pixie again. She reached out to us, and I'm sorry that I couldn't invite you, my friend, but it was kind of like a last minute thing.
It's okay. But I forgive you.
For the next one, maybe we can work something out with whoever is willing to talk to us. But she reached out to me on Twitter, or to us, and she set up an interview on something called Twitter Space that I had no idea existed, mind you. she had people listening into. So she asked me questions about the podcast, and we talked about stuff. And I brought you up them in, because you're a part of this, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But she had people listening, and then at the end, she had like a little Q&A session. And I felt like such a celebrity.
Wow.
So that was awesome of her. Thank you very much, Pixie. She is a host in a podcast titled Next on Stage 1, and her co-host Jay speak about the inside scoop on the adult entertainment industry.
Wow.
So it's a very interesting podcast. They're awesome. It's one of my favorite. I'm just gonna put that out there, and not because she interviewed me, mind you, but I liked her podcast before I even started talking to her, socially on Twitter, like before even that happened. I liked her stuff. It's awesome. I also want to thank. I finally watched podcast because they left us a review on Apple Podcast on the episode of Rosemary's Baby.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool, and they left us a 5-star review.
Yay!
Thank you guys, and I in turn also left them a review. They are part of that select group that I told you earlier called the Illumi Potty.
Oh, nice.
Somehow that hashtag started seeping through like the channels and Twitter, and people were like, man, why are people forming their own groups? They're so elitist. And it's like, that's not the point, dude. The point is like I was lucky that the people that started this group invited us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that we consider ourselves to be better than anybody. It's just, that we formed a little group of friends, I guess, and then we talk to each other, and it's just like anything, dude. And it's not that we think, again, that we're superior or anything like that. It's just, people that we get along with, and we decided to do a little group chat, and that's basically the whole idea. It's a group chat,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, they're part of that, and it's left us a review, so that's awesome. Thank you guys for that. I want to thank also Drunk Theory Podcast because they sent us some awesome merchandise, and I gotta get on the ball and send our own package to them because they sent us stickers, they sent us some keychains, and also some pins, dude. You're gonna get your stuff when you get here.
Awesome.
So yeah, their podcast is also pretty cool. They get together and talk while drunk about random subjects. It's pretty fun to listen to, dude. I recommend that if you just want to hear drunk people talk.
Nice.
It's awesome. And once again, Twitter in general, and of course the Illumi Potty for being an awesome bunch of people. So let's remind Monica, our listeners, of our social media accounts. We have our Facebook under Exploring the Myths Behind the Legends. We have our Instagram under Myths Behind LGDS.
Our Twitter is Myths Behind LGDS, and then you can also email us at mythsbehindlegends@gmail.com.
Alright, our Letterboxd is also under Myths Behind LGDS, and on Letterboxd it's kind of like a movie blog type of thing, in which you can review movies, follow people, you can make lists of movies you like, movies you don't like, and just in general, review movies and just kind of share your opinion on that stuff with other people online. We have a watch list in which we have movies that we are considering working on for the future. So if you want to go in there and recommend a movie, pick one from there. Or if you want to recommend we put one under, something that you might want to have considered for a future episode, we will be more than glad to help you, as long as it's something that we like. Alright, Monica, so I think I will give the hints on next week's movie because you always do this. And well, the truth is that we kind of just picked this movie right now. Because we forgot to write it down in our notes, but it's in the list, so it was something that we're going to do eventually. But I want to keep a theme going, I guess. It's kind of, we're doing by decades. So we did Rosemary's Baby from the 60s. We did Carrie from the 70s this time. We are doing something from the 80s next time, and it involves an alien life form.
Okay.
Let's just say that.
Nice. Could be.
Could be anything, guys. So we hope you look forward to that episode as much as I am, because Monica hasn't seen this movie, but I have. It's one of my favorites. I saw this movie when I was about 10, and by that point, this movie was maybe about 8 years old. I saw it like in 95 or something like that. I was about 11, and this movie scared me. I don't know why it scared me so much, dude.
Nice.
I don't know. I have no idea why this movie's... now that I see it, it's fun to watch and everything, but I still get cringy, like, when I see what happens. Oh, dude, like, no.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yes, and I believe you might like this one too, my friend. So hopefully you do.
Awesome.
All right, you got any final comments on our episode tonight?
Don't bully people because you don't know where they're at in life and what that could cause.
Very well said, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Very well said. And as always, I want to wish you a great morning, evening, madrugada, late night party, blood-soaked prom.
No.
No, not that. Scratch that. But you get the point. So wherever you're, wherever you're at, be good to yourselves, to everyone around you, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, have a good one.
Bye.